Well, today was the final day of campaigning ahead of phase 1 of Bihar Assembly elections. Political heavyweights crisscrossed constituencies. Prime Minister Modi held a women worker outreach under the Mera Booth Sabse Majboot drive, while Amit Shah, the Home Minister, Nitish Kumar, the Chief Minister of Bihar, and other senior NDA leaders held rallies as well across key districts. The Prime Minister, in the course of the last few days, has brought in jungle raj and infiltration, while Rahul Gandhi has hit out at the Prime Minister, accusing him of doing just drama over the Chhath Puja. Tejashwi Yadav of RJD was declared the CM candidate by the Mahagathbandhan just a week ago, and the manifestos of both alliances are also full of similar promises centered around women. Now, on the opposition front, RJD's Tejashwi Yadav has made a big promise today. He has said that he will give 30,000 to women starting this Makar Sankranti if his government comes to power. Rahul Gandhi, meanwhile, has said that even the army is completely dominated by the upper caste people. So that's a controversial statement that he has made. But the stage is all set for voting on the 6th of November in 121 seats across 18 districts of Bihar. ECI has restarted its zero tolerance approach to poll violence. We saw what happened in Mokama. We're going to discuss all that in just a bit. Recent tensions have been witnessed in constituencies such as Mokama. But what are the big factors that could turn the tide? That's what we discuss in the course of the next few minutes. Before we get in our guests, let's take a look at some reactions.
अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति चुनाव में उस वक्त के राष्ट्रपति जो बाइडेन की तबीयत एक बड़ा मुद्दा बना। आपको लग रहा है कि नीतीश जी की सेहत इस वक्त एक इशू है इस इलेक्शन में?
शायद आप कैंपेन को ढंग से फॉलो नहीं करे हो। वो हर रोज 5 सभाएं कर रहे हैं। 5 गांव में बिहार में जाना अपने आप में अच्छी सेहत का परिचायक माना जाता है। मैंने फिर से एक बार मैं स्पष्ट कर देता हूं, नीतीश जी मुख्यमंत्री हैं, हम उनके नेतृत्व में चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं। इसमें कोई एनडीए में कंफ्यूजन नहीं है, फैलाना भी नहीं चाहिए। जहां तक प्रत्याशी मुख्यमंत्री तय करने का एक संवैधानिक प्रक्रिया है, संवैधानिक प्रक्रिया के हिसाब से सारे एमएलए बैठकर इसको तय करते हैं, जो चुनाव के बाद हो सकता है।
BJP President JP Nadda is also in Bihar, and he spoke about the Bihar campaign, and this is what he said.
वैसे तो कोई भी चुनाव भारतीय जनता पार्टी एड़ी चोटी का जोर लगाती है, लेकिन इस बार का बिहार चुनाव खास तौर पर जिस तरीके की राजनीतिक आतिशबाजी देख रहा है, शायद ही कभी पहले देखा गया हो। क्योंकि पिछली बार 2020 में जिस तरीके की कांटे की लड़ाई हुई थी, क्या इस बार भी उस तरीके की ही बहुत ही करीबी लड़ाई देखी जाएगी? और इसका बेहतर जवाब और कौन दे सकता है? खुद भारतीय जनता पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा जी हमारे साथ हैं। गया में वो प्रचार कर रहे हैं। सर, ऐसा कहा जाता है गया निर्णायक सीट होती है, जो गया जीतता है वो राज्य जीतता है। तो क्या आज गया और बिहार भाजपा के साथ है?
गया भी हम जीत रहे हैं और हम बिहार में क्लियर कट एनडीए की सरकार नीतीश कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में बना रहे हैं। I find clear cut wave in favor of the NDA candidates, and there is a wave for NDA. That is what I can see. So not only Gaya, but all the urban part and the rural part of India, of Bihar, all are going to vote for NDA.
हम यहाँ पर देख रहे हैं जिस तरीके से महिलाएं आई हैं सैकड़ों की तादाद में। आपने जो महिला रोजगार योजना की घोषणा की है, उसको ऑथराइज्ड ब्राइबरी यानी कि घूस बता रही है महागठबंधन। आज तेजस्वी यादव ने भी 30,000 रुपए मकर संक्रांति की घोषणा की है। बिहार की महिलाएं किसके साथ है और घूसखोरी के इल्जाम पे आप क्या कहें?
देखिए, वो लोग अपना मेंटल बैलेंस खो चुके हैं। उनको समझ में नहीं आता कि सशक्तिकरण और फ्री बीज में क्या अंतर है। जो नीतीश कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में दिया गया है, जो महिला रोजगार योजना, वो योजना 2 लाख रुपए के साथ स्वरोजगार के साथ जोड़ने का है और उनको अपने पांवों पर खड़ा होना, उनका सशक्तिकरण होना, ये उसका उद्देश्य है। इट्स नॉट अ फ्री बीज। और जो ये घूस की बात कर रहे हैं, तो आपने सुबेरे क्यों किया ये? आप क्यों आए इसमें? इसका मतलब कि आपके मानसिकता, आपका थॉट प्रोसेस, आपकी सोच, वो घूस देने और ब्राइब देने की बात है। हम महिलाओं का सशक्तिकरण कर रहे हैं, सही मायनों में महिलाओं को मुख्य धारा में लाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। 1 करोड़ महिलाओं को हम लखपति दीदी बनाने का हम लोगों ने निर्णय किया। अब इसमें जो इकोनॉमिक प्रोग्राम होगा, वो इकोनॉमिक प्रोग्राम उनको सशक्तिकरण देगा, फ्री बीज नहीं बांटेगा। तो दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड। तो इसलिए अब तेजस्वी कम पढ़ा लिखा है, उसको संस्कार की समझदारी नहीं है, उसको जानकारी नहीं है। 2.5 करोड़ नौकरियां दे देंगे, मालूम नहीं 2.5 करोड़ नौकरियां देने में कितनी तनख्वाह लगती है। तो ऐसे अज्ञानी लोगों के बारे में मैं क्या जवाब दूं?
अब तो कांग्रेस भी किनारा कर रही है 2.5 करोड़ नौकरी की बात से। कांग्रेस भी किनारा कर रही है 2.5 करोड़ नौकरी की बात से। कांग्रेस भी किनारा कर रही है।
कांग्रेस के पुराने लोग हैं, उनको जानकारी है सरकार चलाने की, लेकिन फिर भी वो किनारा करे न करे, ये जो जमावड़ा है, ये महागठबंधन, ये महाठगबंधन है, ये महाठगबंधन है और महालठबंधन है।
नड्डा जी, क्या मोदी जी के चेहरे पर वोट पड़ रहा है या नीतीश जी के चेहरे पर वोट पड़ रहा है?
ऐसा है, मोदी जी का आशीर्वाद है। मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में सारे देश में और बिहार में भी वोट पड़ता है और यहाँ नीतीश जी का अपना स्थान है। तो दोनों को ही लोग मुख्य धारा में विकास की ओर जो जाना है, उसमें लोगों को मालूम है कि मोदी जी का आशीर्वाद बिहार को मिलेगा। और हमारे नीतीश कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में पिछले 20 साल में बिहार को हम विकास की पटरी पर लाए हैं, इसलिए हम उसको आगे ले जाएंगे।
राहुल जी तो लगातार नीतीश जी पर हमलावर है, कह रहे हैं जिस तरीके से रिमोट कंट्रोल से चैनल बदलते हैं, वैसे नीतीश जी को रिमोट कंट्रोल से आप लोग बदल देंगे।
उनको ईर्ष्या हो रही है, उनके हाथ पद आता नहीं है, सीटें जीतते नहीं है, सीटें बर्बाद होती हैं उनकी, इसलिए उनको ईर्ष्या में इस तरीके की बातचीत कहने की आदत है।
जिस मंत्र आप गया और बिहार की जनता को, आज आखिरी दिन है, क्या मंत्र देंगे, क्या संदेश देंगे?
एक ही संदेश देंगे, जंगल राज से हमने छुटकारा दिलाया है, इसको संभाल के रखो और विकास की गति चल रही है। बिहार को स्थिरता चाहिए, नीतीश जी के नेतृत्व में विकास हुआ है, मोदी जी का आशीर्वाद मिला है, बिहार तीव्र गति से आगे बढ़ रहा है। इस बढ़ने में आप अपना योगदान करें और स्थिर सरकार नीतीश जी के नेतृत्व में लेके आए।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, many thanks, and this really is the message at a very frantic activity happening on the last day of campaigning of phase 1 with video journalist Ashok Mahale in Gaya. Padmaja Joshi for NDTV network.
So what are the big factors that could decide the outcome in the state of Bihar? We have Satish Singh, who's a former journalist, author, and we also have Sajjan Kumar with us. He's also a political analyst. But first, let's also listen in to what former Minister Smriti Irani said with regard to the Bihar campaign.
The question that needs to be posed is, why is it that there's absolutely no conversation about the fact that why were 6 crore people in Bihar never having access to a bank facility, which happened only when Prime Minister Modi took office and Jan Dhan Yojana ensured that 6 crore new accounts were open, of which 3.5 crores were that of women. Why is it that 76 lakh farmers in Bihar never had support from government when the Congress had power at the center, which they now find with Prime Minister Modi under the Kisan Samman Nidhi, which will then be raised up to 9,000 rupees per year? Why is it that 32 lakh women in Bihar who have now during their pregnancy and as they feed their young child receive support, cash transfers under the Matra Vandana Yojana from the Prime Minister, which never happened when the Mahathagabandhan had power at the center? So because they don't want these conversations to happen, they will foist upon people like you such conversations or such deliberations. But let's look at the figures and facts and debate. How is it that they are not available for such debates?
We also have senior journalist Neeja Chaudhary joining us. But first, Satishji, what was that one big highlight of the Bihar campaign? Because for me, the fact that Tejashwi Yadav was declared as the CM candidate by the Mahagathbandhan also bring out pressure politics, and the friendly fights are important. But this whole welfare centered around women and promises made to youth in a state which has seen so many youth protest and Prashant Kishore factor. What do you think was the biggest highlight in this campaign?
If I can tell you 2-3 big points. One is this women voters and the kind of largesse that has been given to women voters is very crucial in deciding the outcome of the Bihar election this time, particularly with this 10K transfer very recently.
But Tejashwi is saying that 30,000 will be, he'll start giving 30,000 on Makar Sankranti.
See, the difference is the promise is a promise. It will come, it might not come, but delivery is instant, it has been done. One. Second thing is that MGB, though they are first in declare the CM candidate and their manifesto, but they were delayed. I think Nitish in particular from NDA has played his cards very well, and in the arena of jungle, it's the survival of fittest that counts. So in the last run up to the election, it seems that NDA, if not NDA, Nitish is certainly having an advantage.
Okay, so continuity is what you are saying will sort of...
There is no anti-incumbency as such.
Okay. Neecha Chaudhary, the fact that Nitish Kumar also has been part of so many alliances, so a lot of people also believe that the anti-incumbency is distributed because it's also been with RJD and BJP, but the fact that this could be the last election for him and the fact that this election is very crucial for not just his future but also the way his legacy will be written, what do you think was the biggest deciding factor this campaign?
Very difficult to say. Till a few days ago, I would have said, I've just come back from Bihar this evening. I would have said that the NDA and Nitish Kumar had an edge. Today, I will say it is well and truly a takkar because Tejashwi Yadav in the last 2-3 days has been growing, gaining ground by the hour. The rallies that he has addressed, the large number of people, the enthusiasm and a desire for change. Will Bihar vote beyond caste also this time?
But Nijam, even in 2020, I remember that a lot of us did feel that Tejashwi Yadav was extremely aggressive, Yuva Neta, flying in between choppers. You remember that election, it did seem like he had really sort of, swung it around for himself. But social engineering is the magic that works in Bihar. The caste alliances remain stable. So Nijam, in your experience, where do you think the shift is happening? Which caste base?
As far as Nitish Kumar is concerned, it's absolutely right. There is no anger, akrosh, angst against his government. If at all people think, his motto has been governance, governance and governance, which is what he said in 2006 to a group of bureaucrats. And people appreciate that there is peace, there is not the kind of jungle raj during what Lalu's rule had degenerated into. All that people concede. But the young people are to be watched. Their aspiration, their desire for change is also there. Now, Tejashwi Yadav has MY and they're going to be solidly consolidated behind the RJD and the Mahagathbandhan.
Right.
But will some young people make up that plus, MY plus, and may go beyond caste? Now, this is where, Prashant Kishore, the third factor in this election, and I accompanied him yesterday, and it was very, very interesting, the kind of, the enthusiasm. It reminded me the early days of VP Singh.
Right.
1987. Now, but does he have the structure to translate that into votes and seats? That's a big question mark. The other question mark is whose vote is he going to cut more?
Absolutely.
The NDA, BJP or the RJDs, cut into the anti-incumbency factor that would have benefited the RJD. All these are imponderables. More than one person has said this. Okay. If anyone thinks they know the outcome of the Bihar elections, they don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. Sajjan Kumar, a large part of Magad and Shahabad also votes on the first phase of elections, which is day after tomorrow. Help us understand, this is one area, I remember even in 2024 elections, places such as Buxar and Patna Sahib went to the opposition, although the opposition did not do well in the whole of other parts of Bihar, the north of Bihar, even in Simanchal, you did see the NDA doing much better than the opposition. When it comes to the first phase, what do you think is going to matter the most? Because the last few days have just been about Mokama violence, but clearly this election would be beyond that, isn't it?
Yes, Vasudha, precisely it's beyond that. And in particular, the Shahabad and Magadh region, you see in 2020, the Gathbandhan did pretty well. It did well because of the demographic and political alliance factor. Demography, because you have Yadav population and also significant Muslim population, it adds weight. And two, also because they aligned with left parties, overwhelmingly CPI-ML, which has cadre base among some EBC communities, some Kushwaha community, etc. So they had mathematics which helped Gathbandhan catapulting to better performance. Now, this time, if you take Magadh and this part, Shahabad, do remember that many of the left candidates do not have the advantage of coming from movement background or signifying a fresh promise. They have been in incumbent MLA for the past 5 years, and therefore they are being assessed on the basis of their performance. So be it Paliganj in Patna, be it Dumrao in Buxar, etc. Many of the CPI-ML are facing anti-incumbency. This is one. Two, also see, last time in this part, you have the Paswan Dalit community in significant number also, which were sliced away from JDU kitty, and that also added to the better performance of Gathbandhan. So this time, Tejashwi and Gathbandhan has a tough task, not just to supersede, but just let alone superseding it, but just to maintain the 2020 performance. Now, there are other parts.
Satishji, when it comes to Mukesh Sahni being declared as the Deputy Chief Minister, now this is a socialist state which has seen Chief Ministers like Bhola Paswan Shastri, or for that matter even, we've seen Karpuri Thakur, right? So this is a state which has been quite advanced when it comes to social justice. In that scenario, somebody like Mukesh Sahni, who's known to flip sides, he's been declared as the Deputy Chief Minister. How is that going to impact the EBC vote, which is so important?
Well, the only big thing which has happened for MGB in terms of vote addition, in terms of community, it is, I would say, Mukesh Sahni. Though he is slippery, I must note this, that is still slippery, but that's an addition to MGB. Apart from that, what Sajan is saying, I agree with him, that this part where the voting is going to take place largely on 6th, this part last time was a sweep for MGB, Mahagathbandhan. This time they have a tough challenge on their to just maintain the status quo what happened last time. So I think some kind of anti-incumbency works against the MLAs also, and there is a better stitching of caste and communities as for the NDA. The only challenge this time, in my view, in this election in Bihar is, if the challenge is there, it is for Nitish from within the NDA, particularly the BJP. Otherwise, I will give a sweeping statement that after 20 years, if there is no palpable anti-incumbency against a chief minister, that means he is going to, win. And it is for the BJP, who has been doing a lot of damage control recently, after saying that legislature party will elect the new chief minister. But Nitish, this way or that way, either Mahagathbandhan chooses him, but NDA is, in my view, is forced to elect him as a new chief minister again.
Right. Neerja Chaudhary, ma'am, could you also visit some of these constituencies which have Chirag Paswan's candidates fighting? Because there's a lot of curiosity over his prospects as well, because last time he did fight separately. This is the only time when you have Jiten Ram Manjhi, Nitish Kumar, BJP, and of course Chirag Paswan all fighting together. It looks like a grand alliance. Do you think it'll all be enough to beat the anti-incumbency of 20 years?
Yes, I think apart from women, and I would call it this election as a Jivika Didi versus Tejashwi Yadav election. That's the way it is becoming. But yes, the Dalit factor, this time also large chunks of the Dalits, different ones. Paswans, of course, because of Chirag Paswan now being on the NDA side. Unlike last time when he cut in two, he damaged Nitish Kumar in 28 seats. That's not a small number. This time they are together. Now, Chirag Paswan's view has been, his challenge has been how to get his cadre to work for the JDU candidates because they'd been at loggerheads in the past. But yes, Jitin Maji's Musahar community, I went to this area, Gaya, Bodh Gaya, Sherghati, Barachetti area. They are solid women. Openly say we are going to vote for Nitish Kumar. Incidentally, they don't say NDA, they don't say anybody's name, whether it's Ham candidate or Paswan's candidate or whoever. We will vote for Nitish Kumar is the way they formulate it. So yes, I think barring maybe Ravidas community, some there, barring Domes, I think overall, large chunk of Dalits are going towards the NDA, and that is a plus factor apart from the Mahila factor.
Right. Satish, you wanted to add something because this Dalit factor would mean the Dusads and the Paswans, of course, are a different category now. But also, what about the Mahadalits then? Do you think all of this would be a considerable 20%?
Oh yes, that is the creation of a very big kind by one person who remains chief minister for 20 years. That's a, I would say, invention done by Nitish, whose own caste constitute only about 2%. So he created a new vote bank, and this is what is carrying him through after 20 years. I said that the only challenge for Nitish this time is from within NDA, particularly BJP. Otherwise, I can stick my neck out. It's Nitish is all the way. He was considered as a dead horse. He's not well, whatever kind of thing. But he's making a solid, stellar comeback, in my view. And mind you, women voters. One minute. Women voters in Bihar, in terms of voting, they exceed male by 6%.
Yeah.
Staggering.
But Satish, this perception of Nitish Kumar is also because probably a lot of sympathy for him considering the discussions around his health. Because when we started the discussions on election campaign, he was always seen as a liability. And if you look at the performance of BJP in the last several years, the BJP has been steadily increasing its prospects, seats, number of seats, vote share. And the JDU has been going down in terms of both vote share and number of... what really happened in terms of how Nitish is being looked at? Because suddenly he has become central to the NDA's campaign.
I think he has sensed the BJP's game plan. One. Secondly, BJP had the plan to somehow have a person of their party, of their choice, in the chief minister's seat. I think, but despite that, they could not get away from Nitish. Their dependence on Nitish very well is much entrenched now, and Nitish knows this. And Nitish has many takers, not the BJP. So this way I would say that despite being considered as a liability, maybe by BJP also, I think for some days at least he will be the chief minister. If not by the BJP, then MGB is always waiting to welcome him.
Absolutely. So because Bihar is not Maharashtra, there's not a shinde yet in JDU. Sajjan, when it comes to the weakest link, last time Congress party was criticized for being the weakest link, for being, for winning just about 19 seats out of the 71 seats that they contested. This time they're contesting on 61 seats. But it looks like this time too, they might not really perform that well. What is your understanding? Because this is based on the surveys that I am reading. What is the Congress's performance going to be like? Is there going to be a flip? Is there going to be a reduction in their prospects? What do you think?
Yeah, my insight is that it's going to take a dip further. What would be the degree of dip? That can be debatable. Certainly, they have nothing to add. Two, the candidate profile that they have fielded, also many of them are not relatable. You find complaints that they have been fielded from the outside. Three, you do not find Tejashwi and Congress leadership, Rahul Gandhi, talking in sync. While Congress made the plank of SIR and vote chori, Tejashwi is not talking about it. When it comes to the government jobs, Congress is not talking about that. So that way you do not find the enthusiasm that you find. Of course, RJD has a core support base that will vote for the Congress candidate because of alliance factor, but the kind of emotional connect that you find, we have seen that's missing, right? And that is why Congress still remains the weak link. And I again agree to Satish sir that Nitish remains the prime anchor. You know, it's about Nitish status quoism, the trust and the pull factor that his code is intact. He is caste plus. You do not find that plus factor triumphing the caste factor when it comes to Tejashwi.
Okay, sir, you wanted to add something?
Just I want to add one thing. In this election, Chirag Paswan and Congress, they are fighting very tough battle for themselves. I think there might be a dip for both the parties. Yes.
Right. Neecha Chaudhary, ma'am, did you have the chance to go to any of these seats where these friendly fights are happening, be it Gaura Baram or Begusarai? Begusarai is always known for friendly fights, but Lalganj or some of these seats which have seen these intense fights between Mahagathbandhan allies, how do you think people are looking at that whole contest and also the seat vote transfer amongst the Mahagathbandhan allies? Do you think that's happening seamlessly?
I think people know what has happened. There were differences within the Mahagathbandhan. Of course, the Prime Minister talked about it very sharply that the Janata Dal, the RJD forced by putting a gun at their head the Congress to agree to declare Tejashwi Yadav as a chief ministerial candidate. I don't know why they delayed it so much. Were they using it as a bargaining chip? But they lost a lot of momentum, which they had built up earlier with the Vote Adhikar Yatra. And I think that was unfortunate. Of course, but as I said, Tejashwi Yadav is bouncing back very rapidly. And I think we need to look at the youth angle. Otherwise, if you go by caste alignments, things are very clear.
Okay.
You have this wild card of young people across caste, even a smattering voting across their usual voter.
Where do you think the young people are voting? Are they all divided? Are they all also going to vote on caste lines? Because this happens often, ma'am, that young people, when I'm reporting on the ground, they'll tell me one thing, but on the polling day, on the voting day, when I call them, they'll be like, no, we voted along caste lines. So clearly something happens on the day in the morning before voting happens, right? So do you also see that pattern in Bihar?
Maybe, I don't know. But if you talk to young people, they will today tell you, jaat ke saath kaam bhi. And berozgari across the board, I've never heard people voice that one word as the main issue for Bihar now, main issue in this election. And everybody is picking that up. Whether it's Nitish Kumar giving 10,000 rupees to the women, it was for generating additional income, rozgar for these women.
Right.
Whether it's Tejashwi saying it's jobs and more jobs. Everybody is articulating that ground level sentiment that you come across, and particularly by young people. So you meet large number of people who say, I'm going to vote, young people who say, I vote Prashant Kishore.
Right.
Or they will say, I met a Kurmi today who said 20% Kurmi may go across to the other side. I was shocked. That's Nitish Kumar's basic constituency, the caste to which he belongs. So I don't know. You are right. It is said that when people go into that booth, they ultimately fall in line and go by caste.
Right. Mr. Singh, Prashant Kishore factor, I followed his campaign throughout. I think he made a lot of right noises. He gave, K.C. Sinha is somebody whose books people have read, right? He's somebody who has authored so many books. So many Bihari youngsters telling me that, ye to inki kitabein humne padhi hai. So clearly there is a certain resonance with the candidates that he has given tickets to. But something happened towards the end that the campaign did not go the way he wanted. Is it because he refused to fight, he decided not to fight, or do you think that did not make any difference?
Well, PK will be certainly a factor. There's no doubt about it. And in my calculation, about 3-4% votes to him, 4-5 seats also. And everything in Bihar, revolves around this caste calculus. K.C. Sinha belongs to, as I am told, he belongs to Caste community. Yeah. And he's a known name there. We have also seen his books. So he's going to make some difference in Patna constituency. So has Prashant, even if he doesn't get number of seats, maybe that he doesn't exceed, comes in double digit, but certainly he's going to make a mark, and he is affecting both NDA and MGB both. So he will be a factor. Having said that, let me add one more thing. Nirja ji was saying that Prime Minister made that katta comment. There is also a bow and arrow being mounted on BJP's head by Nitish's party, that if Nitish is not the chief minister, you can expect a shocking move by Nitish after the election. And as for the youths, youths are also from some caste, no? If there is a caste cauldron in Bihar, how do you expect that youth will forget? They are more, youths are with more energy, so they are more aligned to the caste. But yes, that is true that women are voting for Nitish Kumar, youths largely for Tejashwi.
Sajjan Kumar, when it comes to the legacy and future of Nitish Kumar, if he's going to remain the chief minister, that looks to be the case right now. Prashant Kishore in one of his interviews said that Nitish Kumar used to ask him not to work very hard in 2015 because he said कि इतना काम मैंने किया है बिहार में कि कोई मुझे गाली नहीं देगा. What do you think his legacy is going to be, especially after this election? Is his loss going to impact the legacy of Nitish Kumar?
Look, Vasudha, when people are thinking that it's going to be almost a farewell election, you see the sort of nostalgia, the sort of positive memory that he was the one who is considered savior of Bihar in 21st century. And you find that happening compared to 2020 when he was in best of his health, right? And then people were saying, you heard some voices that there is a clamming for change. But this time you go into the core constituency, overwhelmingly women, overwhelmingly the EBCs. You find that, yes, Nitish Kumar is someone who gives them the material welfare schemes. He is someone who is trusted on the plank of law and order. Jo bhi hai, it may not be the best of the ideal option, but when you compare it to the alternative, people have the faith. You know, this trust, this sympathy, this sort of bonding and relatability. That is something which Nitish Kumar enjoys, and wherein that is why Nitish Kumar remains to be the fulcrum of all the factors we call X factor in this election. You know, and I think, as you rightly pointed out, when people think that this is going to be his last election, not because he will retire, but because maybe his health, maybe his sort of legacy is going to come to an end. This is where people start looking what was Bihar before and what happened to Bihar after that. Okay. So people are clear. We may not be getting the best, but something, whatever is there, it still is with Nitish Kumar. And that is why the Jungle Raj imagery is haunting again. So it's social anti-incumbency that has superseded the political anti-incumbency.
Chaudhary, I'll end with you. Is Jungle Raj still resonating amongst people of Bihar? Because a BJP source of mine told me that the Jungle Raj did make a comeback in, smaller forms, those 17 months, once in 2015 and again in 2021. Do people still get triggered with memories of Jungle Raj, or is it just for the campaign?
Are you asking me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, it does resonate with people. Large number of people, women particularly, say this. At least we have peace. We don't have the kind of, 20 years ago, what was there in Lalu's rule. I think it does matter to large sections. Young people, maybe not so much. And Tejashwi's rule as deputy CM, they don't associate him with Jungle Raj. And generally, bureaucrats also say this, that on the whole, he did well.
Right.
As a deputy CM, he's not charged with anything. And even now, they're not using Lalu's photographs on posters. They're not taking Lalu Yadav to the rallies. They're keeping him in the background. They don't want to revive these memories of Jungle Raj that the BJP would then go to town with. So they're conscious of that. And the way Tejashwi is speaking, even when provoked, he's not falling into that trap. Okay. He's going jobs, economic distress, moving forward.
Right. I'm sorry, ma'am. Last word from you. Satish, you wanted to add something?
I'm saying, yes, Jungle Raj resonates. Well, this is the time of our Mokama Raj. This is the new jungle of Bihar.
Okay. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Bihar is all set to vote on the 6th of November. This is going to be the first phase of elections. 121 constituencies will vote, and Bihar might either affirm the present order or hint at a shift that goes beyond the rhetoric. We'll keep tracking that. It's time for a short break. My colleague Rahesha joins you on the other side.